In this segment, I want to talk about putty knives, scrapers, and razor blades. First, the putty knives. This is a 2-inch flexible blade. These are nice for applying putty to the wall because you get a little bit of flexibility. You could also have a 2-inch stiff knife. Now, I never use these to apply putty because it has a tendency to push the putty back out. It's just too hard to work with. But these are fantastic for scraping paint. This is what's called a 6-in-1 tool, so it has a variety of uses. I like to use this little bit larger edge to pry open paint cans. You can use this to scrape out cracks and stuff. This is for cleaning a roller pad if you clean your own roller pads. Finally, every once in a while, I'll use a 5 or 6-inch blade when I'm doing joint compound. Like if there's a big crack and I need to do some taping and some mudding, I'll use a blade like this. For scrapers, these are the ones you're probably going to run across the most. These are it's a metal blade inside of this handle. I'm not a huge fan of these because they get dull really fast and they just don't work as well. I use a carbide blade. It's much stronger, it stays sharper longer, and it's so sharp that if you have existing runs or things running down your wall and you don't want to sand it, you can use the carbide blade to kind of lightly take it down. So it's a really wonderful blade to work with. I highly recommend this more than these metal ones. Finally, the blades, I use an all-purpose box knives. These are great for cutting plastic and paper. You could also use, these are called snap knives. And so this is the blade here, but it has little grooves in the metal so that when the end of the blade gets dull, you could just take it down to here and then you just press it on a surface and you push down and it snaps off. Now be careful if you're using one of these things. If you snap it, you don't know where it's going to go, right? Like in your eyeball or something. So I usually will take the blade and stick it into a garbage can and then kind of shove on it so that I have more control over, maybe inside of a box or something. Finally, our razor blades. This is a razor blade up here and it's held in this Titan handle. I love this thing. It is very strong. The blade does not move, so when you're scraping, you don't worry about the razor blade moving. In these less expensive brand, this is a hide, and there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're scraping really hard paint, like the paint's been on your glass or windows for a long time, sometimes the blade, you can push this blade up and down, you can put it back into the housing to hide it, but when you push it up, sometimes you'll be scraping the paint and the blade will drop back down into the housing and it's very annoying. So personally, if you're going to be doing a lot of scraping, I'd really recommend a razor blade that's held into a strong handle like this.